So the challenge was to build a Beetleweight fighting robot. It's been a crazy few months, and this is the result.
Audience, are you ready? Roboteers, are you ready? Yeah! Roboteers, are you awake?
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1, activate.
Students are getting up to speed, bolts are running into the corner. All that sounds nasty, that's a death arm. Hey Chris, how he's taking a good there's a big stove in the back of the bolt here. I'm not sure they're going to be able to continue. I think he scored it. Now Bolter said he's dead. Right, that's it.
Yes, looking back at the footage, you can quite clearly see that it was rubbish. It was awful. Look. This is the closest we had to a bin bag on the day. Let's move this. This is very dignified, I know. That's what's left. That's what's left. It's a bit haphazard, really. I mean, it's still in some sort of shape, isn't it? Volta had its first and only fight against a very vicious spinner called Spinzer. What's interesting to note is that Spinzer last year came third in the competition and I was put up against it. I was not going to stand a chance. However, the whole point of this wasn't to stand a chance. It was to prove that I could get a robot into the arena and have a fight. And it may be 10 seconds worth of fighting, but it is a fight. And from that standpoint alone, I deem it a success, even though this is probably not. It doesn't look very successful. So let's pull it apart and show you exactly what's happened. So this is the very front shell chassis that we painted blue. It's all nice. I do like the blue. But blue paint doesn't stand up very well to abuse, does it? A lot of this can be salvaged. Look, there's a receiver. You see that? That's fine. Not a speck of damage on that. It was very basic. It was very crudely made, but it got into the arena and it had a fight, even though it was short-lived. Well, let's analyse the damage. So this was actually not. Like Spinzer did not take off the entire back panel. Being Cat took that off, but you can see here where Spinzer hit first and raked right across, took out the LED, which is just there, just at the end of that bit of heat shrink there. I'll come on to that in a moment. It raked across here and Spinzer knocked into this wheel. Oh, it's actually moved. It's moved on the. That one. That is. No, they both move independently now. But this wheel was actually jammed up because it had moved too far on its shaft, and because of the bolts on the inside of the wheel, they weren't very flush. It knocked up against the bolts on the motor mount. The damage was actually probably more superficial, but since it had broken the LED on the safety circuit, I wasn't going to take the risk. But yeah, Spinzer bent the chassis. It meant that Volta was riding high. Cat did actually want to get it fixed and repaired to go into the next fight, but I actually think it has taken quite a knock. That's the wiring harness, and oh, does that come off? Is that the weapon that's straight off? Yeah. We weren't going to win any fights with that, and I mean, look, there is a bit of green on the side. I don't know if you can actually see that. Let's just move it. There's a very tiny bit of green there. That is from Spinzer. There's a very think it has actually, there's a bit more on the back as well. Just there, and around here. Just there, you see where it's green. Get in focus, there you go. And here, I mean, yeah. But it did move, and it did fight for very shortly. So, there you go. That is how you build a fighting robot. It's not. Seriously though, time was not my friend. In the week leading up to the event, I realised very late that we needed the fuse in there, and the LED needed to be in a certain place, and I found it hard to find the information on this safety circuit with the removable link, the fuse, and the LED online. I just bodged it in the end. I think that was the best way to describe it. I put it together in a way that it did work. I had a blue LED originally, but I think it was sapping too much power from the battery. It did move, the wheels did move, but it was very sluggish and very slow. And I wasn't 100% happy with it. I was fully prepared to just take it and say, if it doesn't pass the tech check, that's absolutely fine. But we got to Marlow, we got to Buckinghamshire, and we got to Borlase School, and got to where we needed to be in the pit, and set down a soldering station. There was a free space, a soldering station. I put it down, and I just said, this is awful. This is very badly made. And I said, it's not going to run. I can't get it to work. And a few guys said, well, let's get it working. I was like, you don't have to waste your time. And he was like, no, don't worry about it. We'll get it working. I've heard good things about this community, but I wasn't expecting it on this level. The guy next to me, his robot chops to it. His name's Rob. He very kindly lent me a new LED and helped me solder in the new XT60 for the removable link. Michael, whose robot's Shoe, he was on my right hand side. He helped me solder it all together, get the LED in. David Weston gave us his diagnosis, and Gareth Anstey gave us a new battery because the 850 lipos that we bought with us weren't strong enough, so he gave us a more powerful battery. And with some strong determination, as I was just standing back watching it happen, like, these guys clearly know what they're doing and I'm far out of my depth. They rejigged the circuit, they added the removable link, and they got it working. I was putting it together during the briefing. Kat was out by the arena side listening to the event organisers go through the rules and the regulations, whilst I was desperately trying to put it back together. I had to opt for going with tape at the end. That's just why it had tape on it. But we tested it. Everything worked. The arena marshal, Shane, came over and tech checked me. I passed everything. I wasn't even expecting to pass the tech check, but we passed. And it worked how it should, until we took it into the arena and turned it on with the removable link in, and one of I think it was the left-hand side, was jammed on, wouldn't cooperate with the controller. Right-hand side was fine. This may be completely opposite. This is all going on memory. So one of the sides was jammed on anyway. And Shane adjusted the trim on my controller and got it down to a fairly usable setting, even though it wasn't usable. We got it in. I had to turn on the controller as soon as Activate was called, because I couldn't let it continue running around like a lunatic whilst they were counting down. But yeah, Activate was called. I had no control. I could not control it at all. I thought I had it at one point. I thought I managed to rein it back. But by that time, Spinzer had come in with that nasty spinner, and it was shot after that. It had completely gone. That was okay. The success wasn't to win. The success was to have at least one fight, and I know it was 10 seconds and I did the worst out of everyone there and I was quite clearly out of my depth, but I am 100% happy with that. We took it out of the arena. The arena host, I think his name was Tim from Team Storm, brought me over to analyse the damage, and I explained that this is what you get for building a Beetleweight for very cheap money and on a very strict budget of less than peanuts, and it quite clearly shows. But from the Thursday night before the event, thinking this is not going to work, to getting it into the arena and lasting 10 seconds at least, that was very good. Although Kat wanted to get it back repaired, and in hindsight I could have got it repaired. All this was actually a more nasty bend, and you can kind of see where it bent originally, and all this on the chassis here, that was all crumpled up. Kat managed to straighten it out. She really wanted me to get it back into the arena, but I said no, it's dead. The LED's gone. That motor was locked up, but we've actually diagnosed what the issue was, so that motor might actually be okay now. It was a very surreal experience. It was a very high production as well. I wasn't expecting it to be all flashing lights and music, and it was really good. It's kind of sad that kinematic events aren't fronting the Beetleweight Championships anymore, but they've been doing it for a few years, but this event was their last one. And I'm very happy to be an incredibly small slice of that. I am happy at what I have achieved. I know it wasn't amazing. I know there's people out there thinking, oh, you should have used HDPE, or you shouldn't have made it out of stainless steel oil drums, and you should have done your wiring this way and that way. But I don't care. Like, I have managed to live out a boyhood dream. I built a robot for not a lot of money, admittedly, and I got it into an arena, and I got it mullered. I was wearing this wristband the entire day with pride because it says Roboteer, and that is my success in itself. And I got a little, I wouldn't necessarily say it was an award, but I took part. I was part of their event. I entered a robot. It was god awful, but it was so much fun. Now that it's destroyed, it means I can rebuild it. I can actually think about different materials and different motors, wheels. Like, I can change everything. I could give it a bit of a tidy up, but the wiring is the sound. It does work. I probably will rebuild Volta in HDPE. I'm already planning on using bulkheads down the middle for more strength. Probably same gear motor layout. See how much titanium costs to get cut. The whole point was to show everyone just how accessible it is. There's some innovative stuff in here, like the flipper arm I'm very proud of, even though it's a bit bodgy, but I am still very proud of that. And the fact that wheels are from B&Q. Nothing is, like, I think the most expensive thing about the entire build was the controller, and that was £35. So I might do like a shopping list type of video and go through all the bits and pieces and see how much I actually spent on this. But no, there we go. It worked. The weapon didn't work. I did have to bolt that down. The wheels did work, kind of. We got it into the arena, and we got it smashed up. Another thing to mention, going back to the community again, the spirit of them is incredible. Part of the reason that I wanted to go to this event was to be involved with the community. So why I make these videos is to show my appreciation for them. And without their help on that day, I would be presenting you a fully functioning intact Volta and not having much to say. It's true, like, if you want to get involved, go to these events, go mingle with people. Even when you've done something wrong or done something ridiculous, they will weigh in and say, well, actually, it needs to be done this way. And that way you learn. Like this LED problem that I had, that's how I learned from the people soldering it all together for me. Like, that's what I should have done in the first place. People knew it was my first time and they were happy to help, find me batteries or lend me bits and pieces, and I am eternally grateful. They are a good community. I know some people keep themselves to themselves, and they've been doing it longer. They know what to expect, and that's absolutely fine. But there are people there who will help. They want to see robots go into the arena and get destroyed. That is its ultimate selling point. This video is proof. If you're building a Beetleweight or an Ampweight or whatever, people will be critical. I know that's a bit hard to swallow sometimes, but they're there to make sure that you do get something in the arena and make sure that you compete. There's no point in building it and taking it and not doing anything with it. I am going to name drop Michael, who's Robot Shoe, who helped me with this, and Rob, Chops to It. Like, they did quite well in the competition. And they even got into a few whiteboards. Kat actually helped Michael reassemble Shoe. Gareth as well lent me his battery. David Weston and everyone else who came over to say hi, and PJ who owns Spinzer. He seemed gutted that he destroyed my hard work, and I said, dude, don't worry about it. It was going to get destroyed anyway, so. But I learned so much, and that is the moral of this story. Go to these events, learn so much, learn from your mistakes, go home with bits and pieces, rebuild it, and carry on. I had an amazing time at the Beetleweight Championships. It was so good to see all these different types of robots and rubbing shoulders with people from Robot Wars and BattleBots, and it was crazy. It was very surreal, but I was part of it, and I will be part of it again. Thank you very much for watching. This is a very odd video, me showing you a pile of rubbish, essentially. I participated, I took part, and that I am happy about.